So I'm not gonna lie, I'm totally out of video ideas. So for the time being, I'm doing what humans do best. Just copy someone else. So today I am in complete Anthony Fantano style, stealing Let's Argue and changing my controversial opinion series to where you send me your controversial opinion and I will react to them. I'm sorry guys, I really just completely ran out of ideas and this is what you're getting. So a little while back I put up a thingy thing on Instagram and you pulled through with some incredible takes and this video is the result of that. I haven't ridden VERBOLTEN, but I have ridden Maverick, and on that alone, I can confidently say you, sir, are wrong. Well, it's been a hot minute since I've been on Hulk. I certainly do remember it being a fairly intense ride. That could be me also being GP at the time, but I almost think that helps my case. You see, this was my first ever looping coaster, and because of that, I was very nervous about what an inversion felt like. None of my family could really describe it well at all, and when I finally got off, I remember saying that it felt like your face was being smushed inwards rather than you being pulled outward like on drops. Now, I would have no idea what that felt like prior to this, because the only coasters I'd been on were the Disney coasters, and sorry, I don't think Seven Dwarfs Mine Train was really packing the positives. I think that alone just proves that this ride is full of positive G's and intensity, so no, Hulk is not forceless. Forbidden Journey is probably one of my favorite dark rides out there. It's definitely one of the most creative ever built, and the whole claw mechanism creates a lot of situations of getting real up close to things and diving over and under stuff that you really couldn't do with other ride systems like a trackless dark ride and such. If you're a Harry Potter fan at all, not even just like a big one, just if you have a fundamental understanding of the franchise, this ride is Candyland. Now, while I haven't been on this, I'd probably agree. I really don't know how controversial this is, but yeah, Mindblower looks really, really good. There looks to be a lot of solid moments of air in that baller inversion in the very beginning, and there's also the fact that there isn't a whole lot of competition in Florida, aside from like Mako and Velocicoaster. But this person wasn't saying Mindblower is the best, just one of the best. So yes, I'd agree. I will agree with half of that statement. I do genuinely think Ka is elite, and there's a very small difference between it and Dragster, and people only like Dragster more because it's at Cedar Point, there's more of a spectacle. But yeah, Ka is actually amazing. It's only rough if you're paying attention to it. Like, the roughness in the back is really not bad at all. And in the front, it's glossy. It's faster than Dragster, and you can definitely feel that, and I really do think the restraints aren't bad at all. The hard plastic restraints don't touch my shoulders, except when I go up for Floater on the giant ending hill, which is a legitimate pro for Dragster. But since it's Floater, it doesn't really hurt them. It's just a nice little love tap being like, here you go, so you don't fly out to the moon. However, I do not agree that Ka is better than TORO. I do really like Ka though because of the launch, and the gap between those two rides is probably smaller than you might think, but TORO is still better. You know, I've been hearing this a lot more recently than you think. I was talking to someone in King to Ka's line that avidly wanted ElToro to be RMC'd, and it was pretty surprising to me because he was a Platinum Pass holder to the park. I would have thought TORO would be like the main reason to be a Platinum Pass holder, but whatever. I don't agree with this, like I'm pretty happy with how ElToro is now. However, I wouldn't really be devastated if it was actually RMC'd. It's a pretty massive structure, so I'd be interested to see what RMC could do with it. There's definitely potential for it to be the best coaster in the world if they RMC'd it really well like they did with Steve, but there's also a big margin for them to f*** it up. You know, I agree on this one for the most part. I think the only rides I want to go back row on are ElToro, Skyrush, and B&M Inverts. Everything else front row is actually god tier. You get airtime pretty much the same, except the airtime is just going up rather than down, so those pretty much cancel each other out, and you also have the added benefit of the sense of speed and no obstructed view. The only reason I say ElToro and Skyrush in the back is because they both have crazy drops, which drops will always be better in the back, but no other coaster that I've been on really crosses that threshold to make it better in the back. Inverts feel way faster in the back, like faster than any other coaster types feel in the back, so that's why I'm in the back there, but for every other coaster type, front is better, especially for launch coasters. This is another one I'm going to have to agree with. While I haven't been on Apollo, CANDYMONIUM really just disappointed me. Look, there's that one good airtime hill on the ride, and the speed hill kinda, but the trims really kill everything else, and the ride is pretty short. The Outer Bank thing is just okay, and the Helix pull no forces at all, so overall, it's my least favorite B&M Hyper I've been on. So I might have agreed with this a couple weeks ago, but then I got a god-awful ride in Green Lantern, and I realized something. Stand-ups just aren't fun. Like, who the fuck thought it would be a good idea to make me stand on a roller coaster? It's not even that it hurts or anything, because like I know how to set it up so I can have kids. It's just uncomfortable. Like, I was just standing in line for like an hour and now you want me to stand on the ride? No, you missed the part where that would be fun. You missed the part where anyone would think that would be fun. Then there's the whole thing where the ride operator is like, feet all the way back, stand straight up, knees slightly bent, don't sit down on the little bicycle seat and deliver the baby while riding this ride. It's just more of a hassle than a B&M looper is worth. No, you're just incorrect. I'm sorry. Now, I haven't been to either, but I could see if you're a big fan of super intense rides that KD would be your jam. Obviously, there's I-305, but there's also Twisted Timbers, which people have said has some of the most strongest and intense ejector on any RMC aside from Storm Chaser and L-Rod. Carowinds has 3 B&Ms, which I know a lot of people don't really like B&M that much, and while they are great B&Ms, people just seem to think that B&Ms are kind of forceless, which is kind of weird to say because Afterburn looks actually barbaric, but whatever. There's also a pretty divisive mock multi-launch, which seems to be pretty hit or miss with people. Other than that, the lineups are pretty much the same in quality. It's just a bunch of random old filler coasters no one really cares about that much. I will say though, Carowinds definitely looks to have the brighter future, but right now, if you like KD's top 2, which is a damn strong combination, then yeah, I could see this. I'm not going to agree or disagree though, because again, I've only seen KD from the highway and never even gone near Carowinds. I'm gonna agree with this one again. I feel like dive coasters as a whole get a lot more hate than they deserve. They're obviously not my favorite type of coasters, but I do really enjoy the 2 that I've been on, SHIEKRA being one of them. SHIEKRA gave fantastic airtime and nailed that stomach dropping feeling on the first drop, and the smooth and graceful inversions were a nice change of pace since the rest of the park tries to rip your face off. I enjoy the ride more than Montu and Kumba, and I'll stand by that till the day I die. I think this applies to Rattles as a whole. I think roughness on a wooden coaster can legitimately ruin a ride, but Rattles are really only as bad as you let them be. Rattles are pretty easy to ignore for me, and while I haven't been on a whole lot of coasters with supposed Rattles, and the only one of those that's a B&M is Nitro, they don't really bother me, like, at all. Like, yeah, if you're looking for them, then you'll feel them, but I'm not really riding a coaster being like, okay, let's look for the B&M Rattle. That's stupid. And even when I did notice it, I didn't really care. Like, it doesn't hurt, it doesn't really tighten your restraint that much, it's just kind of there. So stop complaining about Rattles. I was thinking about putting this in a different video, and I guess this was kind of a good excuse. You know, I kind of agree with this, and I kind of don't. You see, Matt Red and Kuba was a sunset ride where it legitimately wanted to kill me. This was probably the most out of control a roller coaster has ever felt. However, I will admit, Montu definitely has the better layout, and I do generally tend to like inverts more than sit-down coasters, but I rode Montu first ride of the day in the morning. Obviously, this is kind of my fault, but the ride just didn't pack the intensity that Kumba did. And again, I know, this isn't Montu's full potential, which is why I'm saying I kind of agree, but also I need to go back to the park and get a ride on Montu at night and then Kumba in the morning. Just do a flippity flop. I haven't been on I-305, but this is just such a horrible take. There are very few coasters out there that I could look at and confidently say, that is trash. And I-305 is not one of them. Not even close. I-305 is an intense ride. If you don't like intensity, you're not gonna like it. Duh. I don't see how someone that likes intensity or even marginally could enjoy intensity could hate this ride. I hear this argument a lot where people are like, I hate X ride because I don't like its specialty. I've heard the same thing about El Toro where people are like, I hate El Toro because I don't like ejector airtime. And I'm like, what did you expect? That's like not liking chocolate and then eating a Hershey bar and calling it a disappointment. All right, last one. I'm gonna end it off on a good one. Yes, I agree. I honestly think this ride gets too much hate, and I didn't really find it rough at all, and the onboard audio is actually S tier. This ride was one of the key players in getting me into coasters, so for that alone, I love it, but it's also just a great ride. Like, where else do you get a vertical lift into a non-inverting loop? Nowhere. Literally only Maurer would do that. And yeah, that's gonna be it. I know this was a weird video, but let me know if you like it and if you want this to become a series and just copy Fantano. Thank you so much for watching and for your questions, and I'll see you next time.